very good evening and a warm welcome. We're glad to have you join us. It's the first Wednesday after the change of baton at Aso Rock Villa. 3 days into the working week, and the top two men have literally rolled up their sleeves and got down to the business of running the machinery of government. President Buhari is making good his promise to take on the insurgency decisively and is in Niamey, Niger Republic, where discussions on stemming the Boko Haram threat were held. Back home, Vice President Osinbajo went off to Onitsha to condole with the government and people of Anambra State on the recent petrol tanker tragedy. From the legislature, the Senate has consented to the president's request to appoint 15 special advisors. And further to the anti-corruption stance, the Senate also passed for third reading a bill to do with the forfeiture of properties derived from unlawful activities. In other news, end of the road for cult members and armed robbers, as more than 100 of them are rounded up. There's so much you can't afford to miss tonight on News Extra with me, Aisha Bello Mustafa. Welcome. President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived in Niamey for a two-day official visit. He was received on arrival by his host, President Isufu Mahamadou. President Buhari was accorded a rousing welcome at the airport, where he was entertained by different cultural troupes. It is the first official trip outside Nigeria by President Buhari to any country after inauguration. The people of Niger also expressed a show of solidarity and appreciation for being the first country to receive President Buhari on an official visit. From the airport to the city center, people lined up the major streets to welcome the visiting president. He is being accompanied by the governors of Sokoto, Yobe, Katsina, and Borno states. In the wake of the unfortunate fuel tanker accident in the commercial city of Onitsha last Sunday, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has led a federal government delegation on a sympathy visit this Wednesday to the government and people of Anambra State. Correspondent Benson Osadebe reports that the state governor, Willie Obiano, who received the vice president, says 42 people lost their lives while 17 are hospitalized.
The survivors of the tanker explosion says he came to commiserate with the people of Anambra State on the unfortunate incident. Osinbajo, in company of the state governor, walked down the scene of the accident at Opiwek, where the governor took him round the park. He described the accident as tragic and commended the efforts of the state government and other agencies for their prompt response.
The President, His Excellency, was very disturbed by it, very concerned. He felt that it was not sufficient to issue a statement of condolence, and he felt that I should come. I've been taken around. I have seen the very heroic efforts, especially of the hospital and the doctors, who took this upon themselves very quickly and very ably, and of course the state's emergency operations. And they're also very quick to respond.
Governor Willie Obiano commended President Muhammadu Buhari for sending his vice to see the situation on ground for himself, while noting that the state government has put measures in place to forestall a reoccurrence.
We have banned trailers and fuel-carrying vehicles to ply only at night. That we believe will minimize any challenges we are going to have.
The Vice President promised to look into the matter and give necessary support to the state government to ameliorate the situation of those who are stay at the hospital. From Opiweka in Onitsha, Benson Osadebe, NTN News.
In the meantime, the Federal Road Safety Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi has directed strict enforcement of safety standards on petroleum tankers. The Corps Marshal gave the directive in reaction to the reports of the crashes in Onitsha, Anambra State, which claimed many lives, as well as that of Iyanopaja, which led to the destruction of several vehicles. Corps Marshal Oyeyemi, who noted the two incidents, threw the nation into mourning with enormous economic losses, added that the wreckage caused by the crashes had been cleared and normalcy returned to the areas. He said the FRSC, in its efforts to avert such fatal crashes involving articulated vehicles, launched the Road Transport Safety Standardization Scheme in 2007, which made adequate provisions for regular training and retraining of the tanker drivers. Moving on to the National Assembly now, where President Muhammadu Buhari has been given the go-ahead by the Senate to appoint 15 special advisors to assist him perform his functions. The president's anti-corruption stance also received a boost with the Senate's passage for third reading, a bill seeking to make comprehensive provisions for the confiscation, forfeiture and management of properties derived from unlawful activities. National Assembly correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
President Muhammadu Buhari's request on the appointment of special advisors was his first to the National Assembly, and its approval by senators was unanimous.
Those in favor of the motion that the Senate do consider and approve the request of Mr. President say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it.
And after a close-by-close consideration, the lawmakers passed for third reading the Proceeds of Crime Bill 2015, seeking to provide a legal and institutional framework for the recovery and management of properties derived from unlawful activities. The absence of such civil forfeiture law in Nigeria, according to the Committee on Judiciary, makes mockery of the fight against corruption.
One of the cardinal principles of this mission is to fight corruption. We can trace your assets, and by so doing, through civil litigation, we can easily recover whatever you have. You can never escape with the loot.
Also scaling third reading is Senator Chris Anyau's Sexual Offences Bill 2015, which seeks to provide for adequate and stringent punishment for sexual offenders and other related acts.
Nigeria is going to be a very hot place for sexual offenders, for the pedophiles, rapists, sexual harassers, and the rest of them, including institutions that harbor such activity. We are going to give them coin-down treatment.
Meanwhile, the Senate approved a motion by Senator Ita Enang and 8 others on the adoption of a special procedure on bill transmitted to the Senate from the House of Representatives for concurrence. Consequently, 46 bills passed by the House of Representatives were concurred and deemed to have passed for third reading.
We agreed on this on the basis of legislative reciprocity.
The Senate also adopted a motion by the Deputy Senate President and Speaker ECOWAS Parliament, Ike Ekweremadu, congratulating ECOWAS at 40.
Aware that Nigeria has made huge sacrifice in terms of human and material resources to promote regional integration, peace and stability.
Nigeria is still a reference point, not only in ECOWAS but in Africa.
Unless something drastic is done about the structure of ECOWAS with regards to Nigeria's participation, Nigeria should indeed quit that organization.
In a unanimous resolution, the lawmakers called on the federal government to review the country's foreign policies to ensure greater respect for Nigeria in Africa.
They're contributing so much to ECOWAS. As a big brother, they should give us that due respect. We've been careful not to oppress the other countries in the sub-region, but we shouldn't be taken for granted.
A 1-minute silence was observed in honor of the late member of the House of Representatives, Sheikh Umar from Katsina State. Thursday, the 4th of June 2015, is the last legislative day of the 7th Assembly. Senators have therefore resolved to hold a valedictory session with a view to appraising their performances individually and collectively in the discharge of their mandate in the last 4 years. From the National Assembly, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Weak institutions, lack of respect for the rule of law and corruption are some major challenges facing developing countries like Nigeria. There is, however, light at the end of the tunnel as discussants on NTA Tuesday Live assured Nigerians of better days with the President Muhammadu Buhari government, particularly in building a stable Nigeria. Let's join Talatu Ezurike for the details of that story.
Analyzing the presidential inaugural speech, the discussants say from all indications, President Muhammadu Buhari would not pay lip service to matters of weak institutions, lack of respect for the rule of law, corruption and insecurity. They say steps taken in this direction include the president's refusal to interfere in the leadership selection of the National Assembly and his statement that I belong to everybody but belong to nobody.
I see that statement as also a statement of intent and a warning. Intent in the sense that, look, I'm going to do what I feel is best for the country, no matter whose ox is gone.
The issue particularly, which I found particularly interesting at my own personal level, is that he was interested in looking beyond the federal. That recklessness in which there was a total disconnection between what happens at the center and what happens at the state and the local level was a major cause of the huge disaffection.
All the speakers canvassed for continuity with developmental programs of his predecessor and also for issues of power, unemployment and huge inequality tackled head on.
And I'm open that whosoever is going to be involved in defining the national security and defense management architecture service delivery will bring about discipline.
The president and his party cannot afford to fail Nigerians because the expectations are very high.
They are hopeful that the nation's democracy is on course and want the understanding and support of the citizens for the actualization of a new vibrant Nigeria. Talat Izirike, NTA News.
Newly elected legislators of the 8th National Assembly have been enjoined to use all available and legitimate means at their disposal for effective discharge of their duties. Seasoned lawmakers and other experts gave the charge at a retreat organized ahead of the June 9th inauguration of the 8th National Assembly. Dennis Adegunloye has the details.
Dabi, the Chairman, Senators Forum and Chairman, Board of Directors of PLAT.
We're here to work closely with all of you.
Papers on legislative procedures, relations and synergy by the former Deputy Senate Majority Leader, Senator Jonathan Silas Swingina. Relationships with constituents and constituencies by the Chairman, House Forum, Musa Elayo. And media, relationship and management by the General Manager, NTA Parliament, Mohammed Kudu Abubakar. Among others were presented, all designed to boost the knowledge and avenues of new lawmakers for effective service delivery.
You were elected by people from an area representing their interests, number one.
An effective media relationship or management is indeed necessity. The NTA Parliament is first-hand information and vital knowledge of parliamentary processes.
Participants appear in confident and hopeful mood ahead of the inauguration of the 8th National Assembly.
I intend to sponsor bills and motions that will have positive impact.
To educate us to know how to be able to represent effectively.
It's going to be a very vibrant 8th Assembly.
I believe that all in all, the 8th Assembly will be so robust.
We are getting ready.
The British Department for International Development also supported the one-day retreat.
The NAS sits at the heart of a strong democracy.
The 8th National Assembly is scheduled to be inaugurated on Tuesday, June the 9th, 2015.
Now, a wide range of pertinent aspects of legislative procedures and practices has been discussed here. But a key theme to note ahead of the upcoming inauguration of the 8th National Assembly is building on Nigeria's step up in her democratic journey by fostering synergies that will further boost democratic governance in Nigeria. From the Congress Hall, Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
The Speaker, House of Representatives, Emeka Ihedioha, at Wednesday's plenary announced the passing on of a member representing Katsina Central Federal Constituency, Sheikh Umar Abubakar. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Okafor reports that the mood of the House reflected the sad loss which occurred early this morning.
Honorable Sheikh Umar Abubakar
whose sad event took place in his hometown in Katsina, early hours of this morning. The late honorable member is a serving member of this 7th Assembly.
A minute's silence was observed in honor of late Representative Sheikh Umar Abubakar. Representative Salisu Ado Daura of Katsina State led members in prayers for the repose of the soul of the deceased lawmaker.
Allah, may you repose his gentle soul in perfect peace.
The Speaker, Emeka Ihedioha, recalled that the House reconvened with the consideration of the PIB and other legislative matters at the top of Wednesday's order paper, but all legislative matters be suspended following the demise of the member. The member representing Kankiya Kusada Federal Constituency, Katsina State, said Sheikh Umar performed well in his legislative duties. Hence, he was re-elected from the 7th Assembly to the 8th Assembly of the House of Representatives.
I have known him outside politics because we are from the same state. He has always provided that leadership for us, the younger ones. And within the chambers of National Assembly, he has been very vibrant. Working relationship with people, excellent. It's a bridge builder. It's a completely detribalized Nigerian.
In line with the rules, the House adjourned till Thursday, the 4th of June. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Okafor, NTA News.
The absence of ministers in ministries will not affect government activities, so says the head of civil service of the Federation, Aladi Kifasi. Let's join Olayinka Ojo for details.
The head of service of the Federation, Danladi Kefasi, says President Muhammadu Buhari has directed that civil servants across the country must have efficiency to maximize their productivity in the discharge of their duties.
We must improve on our efficiency,
while urging chief executives of agencies and parastatals to take appropriate steps in addressing the issue of late coming to work by civil servants. Mr. Kefasi reaffirms that the official working hours for workers from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. has not changed.
Hiring officers will definitely face the consequences of such a breach.
The head of service further noted that government is doing everything to eliminate queue at fuel stations. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Still to come on News Extra. Nigerian military rejects Amnesty International's report on alleged human rights breaches in the war against insurgency. Do stay with us.
A hectic lifestyle or overeating can cause a burning pain in your chest. That's heartburn. Take Gaviscon. One dose relieves in 3 minutes to soothe the pain of heartburn. It goes straight to the source to work for hours, providing long-lasting relief.
That's why I recommend Gaviscon.
I recommend Gaviscon. Gaviscon, fast relief you can actually feel.
If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
You are exposed to up to 100 illness-causing germs every day.
I encourage my kids to learn new things. And if they get hurt, I rely on my Dettol to fight germs. It's like my own first aid kit.
My family needs protection from germs. My Dettol disinfects surfaces and clothes, keeping them clean and safe from germs.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
What happened? It was a mosquito. Oh! Oh! Daddy, here!
What's happening here?
Mama, mosquitoes.
I sprayed, but the mosquitoes aren't dying.
No longer, because I've bought Motane Power Guard, which kills 100% mosquitoes. Motane Power Guard kills 100% mosquitoes.
Want your bathroom to dazzle? Give your toilet the Hypo treatment to brighten and also kill germs, so your bathroom stays disinfected and squeaky clean.
Hypo, Hypo. I believe in my country. The time is here and now to spread the message of hope across the land. Stay together as one. All the obstacles would disappear. Let's open up our hearts. Let's open up our hearts and cherish this piece of the earth that God has given us.
This is to inform ministries, departments, agencies of the federal government, state and local governments, corporate bodies, private organizations, embassies, diplomatic missions, and individuals interested in the official portrait of the President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo apply to the Federal Ministry of Information for soft copies of the portraits at no cost. Applications should be sent to the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information, Radio House, Abat Macaulay Way, Garki, Abuja, or Veronica Adeyemo at fedcs.gov.ng, or Marcos Amuleme at fedcs.gov.ng. For further inquiries, contact Mr. Peter Dama, Director of Protocol and Public Relations, or call 080-33-14875 or 080-59673861. And Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information.
Thank you for being there. The presidential standard-bearer of the People's Party of Nigeria, Dr. Kelvin Aloaga, has charged President Muhammadu Buhari to lay more emphasis on running an all-inclusive government, peace-building, provision of adequate security, employment generation, respect for the rule of law, and completion of ongoing projects. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Union of Pensioners has urged President Buhari to examine the issues of pension administration in Nigeria. National President of the Union, Dr. Abel Afolayan, called on the President to cause the payment of outstanding entitlements owed his teaming members and the balance of the 42 months arrears of the 33% pension increase. He said this will reduce the suffering of Nigerian pensioners. Moving on to security matters now, Amnesty International has released a report on alleged human rights breaches in the Nigerian military's counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism operations in the Northeast. Africa Director, Research and Advocacy, Amnesty International, Netsanand Belay, disclosed this at a media briefing. Defense correspondent Muhammad Abdul Qadir reports on this and the reaction of the defense headquarters to the allegations.
Amnesty International outlined a range of what constitute war crimes and possible crimes against humanity alleged to have been committed by the Nigerian military in the fight against insurgency in the northeast Nigeria. While calling on government to ensure prompt, independent and effective investigations into the individual and command responsibilities of soldiers, middle and high levels military commanders on mass deaths in custody and extrajudicial killings, the report covering 2011 to date stated that the matters are before International Criminal Court.
Testimonies from mothers, families, victims, fathers who still don't know what happened to their sons.
It means that certain individuals need to be investigated and need to be brought to justice.
Some journalists expressed reservations on the published report.
To accuse military officer of being involved in war crime, you must look at the context of the battle.
This, to a large extent, I call it propaganda.
The Director of Defense Information described the Amnesty International report as untrue.
It is clear that Amnesty International becomes more active in presenting destructive allegations whenever the terrorists are losing ground in the battle. It is very unfortunate that Amnesty International has used this report to further confirm its questionable interest in the counter-terrorism effort in Nigeria.
The Nigerian military therefore rejects what it described as biased and concocted reports to discredit the nation. In Abuja, Muhammad Abdel Kadri, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Nigerian army has cautioned members of the public against falling prey to a syndicate extorting money from victims under the pretext of a fraudulent recruitment into the service. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sani Usman, disclosed that the fraud is carried out through a bogus website claiming to be from the Nigerian army, headed by one Balogun Ehi, with a mobile telephone number 081309677. He said further that the Nigerian army has not commenced any form of commissioning or recruitment and does not charge potential candidates money for whatever reason. Let's go to Lagos now, where the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Usman Jibrin, says the Nigerian Navy will continue to implement viable strategies to combat insecurity in the nation's territorial waters. He said this at the traditional ceremonial sunset in Lagos. Lynn Leneke has the details.
Saddled with the responsibility of protecting the nation's maritime domain, the Chief of the Naval Staff said the Nigerian Navy places priority on training, motivation of personnel and provision of world-class ammunition in order to enhance the Navy's ability to effectively perform her statutory roles. He pointed out that this was evident in the various collaborations and partnerships executed by the Nigerian Navy with other nations of the Gulf of Guinea.
The Nigerian Navy also collaborated with the assistance services and paramilitary agencies in the area of training to concretize the synergy in security operations.
The Flag Officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Jonathan Ango, and the Permanent Secretary Defense also stated that enhancing maritime security and regional economic stability remains the focus of the Navy. With these developments, analysts say it appears the service is repositioned to discharge its responsibilities effectively. A display of colorful fireworks climaxed the ceremony. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
Still talking security, the essential role of policing under emergency rule is embedded in intelligence gathering and processing and ensuring that recovered areas are mainstreamed into proper administration. Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase said this shortly after decorating newly promoted commissioners of police. Bonaventure Nwodo was there and tells us more.
Although under emergency rule, the military becomes the lead security agency, there is active collaboration of other security agencies with police providing intelligence and leadership in the recovered areas for local administration to continue.
Whenever they take over a particular place, we are supposed to move in there
and ensure that there's a semblance of governance, in place. We are still doing that, and most of the investigations too we are doing. So it's a collaborative effort between all the security agencies in the country, despite the state of emergency that has been declared.
The IGP told newly promoted commissioners of police, including first spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu, to key into the policy thrust of his administration.
There is a new paradigm shift in policing in this country, and I'm sure you'll be following the policy thrust of this administration: zero tolerance for corruption, intelligence-led policing, and, restorative justice.
And in his commitment to run open administration, the IGP commissioned Ultra Modern Press Center to provide conducive environment for journalists. In Abuja, Bonaventure Wood, NTA News.
In another development, more than 100 suspected cultists and armed robbers arrested in various parts of Rivers State will soon face prosecution. The PPRO Rivers State Command, Ahmed Muhammad, disclosed this while parading the suspects. Emmanuel Lene reports that arms and ammunition, as well as other dangerous items, were recovered during the operation.
The cultists and robbery suspects, some of them dressed in military uniform, were arrested in various parts of the state, while various items including AK-47 rifle, pump-action guns, Beretta guns, locally made pistols, rounds of cartridges, charms and cash, vehicles, tricycles and motorcycles were recovered. The State Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Ahmad Muhammad, who paraded the suspect, said the breakthroughs were recorded between 1st of May to 31st of May. He said the suspects will be immediately charged to court now that courts are opened.
And as you know, all of you, the Commissioner of Police, what he dislikes in policing is undue and overlong pre-trial detention. Now that the court has resumed, God's willing, any moment from now, they will be charged to court to answer the charges preferred against them.
The command spokesman also called on the public to volunteer useful information that will lead to the arrest of more criminals. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
And as the directive given by the Inspector General of Police that roadblocks be removed from highways takes effect, the Lagos State Police Command has launched a fleet of operational vehicles to aid effective patrol of the highways in the state. Musa Toliat has the details.
The vehicles launched by the Commissioner of Police, Kayode Aderanti, are in two batches. One of the batches is meant for the highway patrol, while the other is for the tactical operations unit aimed at complementing the security network in Lagos State. According to the Commissioner of Police, the personnel drafted to the highway and tactical operations units have undergone comprehensive training to reduce crime rates across the metropolis.
The personnel have been warned and lectured to be of their best, their very best behavior, as anything to the contrary will attract commensurate sanction.
There is no hiding place for hoodlums any longer. So if they make the mistake of striking any of our institutions, the banks, we believe with this in place, they will be picked up.
Provision of the fleet of vehicles is as a result of the public-private partnership supervised by the Lagos State Police Command.
IGP Suleiman Arase, having banned roadblock from all our highways, he believed and he felt that members of the public must not suffer any security gap from that removal and the safety of our citizens that supply the road.
Commissioner of Police Kayode Aderanti therefore urged Lagos residents to support the crime reduction initiative by offering useful information that could help in curbing criminal tendencies in the state. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Moving away from security matters, let's turn our attention to energy issues. Electric power supply has continued to remain a major challenge for consumers in Lagos State. This situation calls for serious attention on the part of government and regulators. Correspondent Ime Udori, who takes a look at the situation, says reports that some people say the situation has improved in their area compared to 2 weeks ago. Her report is here presented.
For some time now, the prevailing power outage has remained a nightmare for most residents of Lagos. For some, it's been tales of woe, especially those who cannot afford to power their generating sets every day due to fuel scarcity. A typical example is the residents of Oyadiran Estate in Sabo, who for the past 3 months have been in total darkness while their businesses suffer.
There's no improvement at all. Everything is even degenerating.
Fridge in our wardrobe. No light, no anything.
Another painful experience consumers complain is having to pay for services not rendered, as they still receive exorbitant bills from the service providers.
If they collect 15,000 per month this month, next month they will send at 21,000.
The situation is, however, different in some areas where residents say the power situation has improved.
Throughout the week we don't have lights, but as of now, we thank God.
It has been one problem or the other, getting allocation of power from the grid. The allocation that we get is 11% of whatever is produced.
President, however, appeals to the government to take a critical look into the power situation in Nigeria as it affects negatively the economy of the nation.
Meanwhile, motorists and residents in Lagos have continued to grapple with fuel scarcity in most parts of the metropolis. Musa Toliat, who monitored the fuel situation, reports that in some parts where the product is available, motorists had to buy above the official pump price.
To purchase fuel in stations of choice leaves motorists queuing up on finding fuel that is hardly available. Some stations are out of stock, staying under lock and key, while those who have the product jacked up the price and the available becomes preferable.
I'm still hoping for that. I don't know for now because I've been here for almost an hour and a half, so I don't know.
I'm watching them. If I get there, I'm lucky. If I don't get there, too bad. As we are going now, we are still going to pay more.
For buyers who could not muster the courage to join the queue, the black market operators are always within reach.
The very minute this product is everywhere, these people will just fizzle out on their own.
Findings show that 10 liters of fuel now sell for between 1,500 and 2,500 naira, depending on the area. Motorists, however, advised that the federal government should take urgent steps to address the lingering fuel shortage.
From what we gathered is that only NNPC are importing petrol. And all these major marketers and independent marketers are relying on what they bring in.
Some respondents suggest the way forward.
Remove subsidy, let them sell at their price. That's the best option.
In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Well, it's a similar situation in Benue State, where despite the improvement in the supply of petroleum products, consumers are still grappling with the problem of high cost of the commodity. Correspondent Elias Etiav has an update on the situation.
Consumers of PMS in recent times had to queue up in stations for hours before accessing the product, though at very exorbitant prices. This situation has, however, witnessed a shift from accessibility and scarcity to hike in the prices of the product. The situation in most of the filling stations in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, shows that there is availability of the product for customers to buy. However, they have called on relevant authorities to expedite action to bring the prices of the product to 87 naira as approved by the federal government. Most of the independent and major marketers visited were dispensing, while others were out of stock. The mega filling station, Otuko Road, was not selling the product, though a truck was moving into the outfit to dispatch the product for onward sales to consumers. Some motorists who spoke to NTA News said, though the product is available, they still have a problem with the price, which is pegged at 130 naira per litre.
Probably not there, but the very cost.
I can see that the fuel is available, one. Secondly, the thing has come down to 130 instead of 180, 200, and the scarcity.
In Makurdi, Elias Etiaf, NTA News.
Precisely a year ago, Good Morning Nigeria hit the airwaves from the stable of the Nigerian Television Authority. The current affairs program on NTA, the largest television network in Africa, has been described by our teaming viewers as simply the best. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday tells us more about the program and its impact on the society.
You have a situation where the governor needs
These leaders are making sacrifices, so they too will be prepared to make sacrifices.
Issues of inclusive growth and development.
It's a new dawn here.
The maiden episode of Good Morning Nigeria was indeed the trailblazer, providing a veritable platform for national discourse. And since then, it has gone uninterrupted for the past 1 year.
Co-anchoring the program on its debut edition.
The program is essentially conceptualized to provide insightful discourse with mind-blowing, in-depth and breathtaking analysis across the formal and informal sectors.
This is a program that keeps everyone on his or her toes,
so the Nigerians can be properly and adequately informed,
with making sure that people out there get the necessary information.
What is the public's perception of the program, and can anything be done differently?
Issues that concern Nigerians are really discussed with divergent views.
The program is very good is informative and educative.
The reach out is wide and is getting the right result.
They should also dig into more things for the youth.
A time when Nigerians...
The initiator of the program, Director General Shola Omole, was a guest on the anniversary.
And so I started to talk around with our people and said, look, there's a space here, there's a gap that's we're missing in this area.
Shortly after his appearance, he emphasized the need for national cohesion and unity of the nation, as it is the core mandate of the NTA.
Because we must continue to promote national unity and national cohesion, we cannot be irresponsible. We'll bring information, all sides of information to the government and to the people, so that we can continue to run our nation as one unified entity. That's our responsibility. It's best for all of us to put our hands together and be pulling in the same direction. That will help the government to do its job. It will have peace of mind to be able to focus on socio-economic development.
1 year down the line, prospects for a more impactful program looks very promising, and Nigerians can wake up every morning to the latest of news and beats from all perspectives through Good Morning Nigeria. Debola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Do stay with us here on the Nigerian Television Authority. Still to come on News Extra, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission arraigns another set of bank officials. I'll be right back.
Body to sweat, which attracts germs that are easily passed from one person to another.
What keeps you so cool, man?
Dettol Cool combines Dettol's protection with added menthol to protect from germs. Cool gives you maximum protection against germs every day from head to toes and an invincible icy feel. For super cool confidence, use Dettol Cool. Maximum protection against germs every day.
Boy, run. This world is not meant for you. Run, boy, run. They're trying to catch you.
Ready for Africa's biggest shopping event, ShopRite's low price golden celebration with amazing deals and massive savings on things like Chi whole frozen chicken at 689 naira 99 kobo per kilogram. Buy any 12 bottles of 1.5 liters Coke, Fanta, Sprite for 1,999 naira 99 kobo. So get to ShopRite today and save with the low price golden celebration.
The Jumia Mobile Week Megathon, the biggest mobile sale ever. Get the phone you've always wanted. Hurry, download the app and get great deals now with the Jumia Mobile Week Megathon. Go to jumia.com.ng to buy now.
Ferry is now in Nigeria and invites you to the Egusi Soup Festival, where chefs and housewives compete for the very best soup. The challenge is to wash these oily pans.
We choose the best-selling brand.
We choose the new Ferry. Ferry is so powerful, even one drop is effective on 100% oily grease. Because Ferry is the best, it removes oily grease easily, while the chefs need to scrub and scrub. Wow, it's squeaky clean.
Let's welcome Ms. Harrison. She's a Colgate expert.
It looks like a friend is in pain.
Sam has a toothache.
It's because he has a hole in his tooth. Dentists call it a cavity. That's why I recommend brushing twice a day with new Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection plus sugar acid neutralizer. Imagine this is your tooth, and these are sugar acids that cause cavities. Colgate's unique formula helps eliminate sugar acids, protecting you from holes.
So how can we help prevent Sam's cavities?
Colgate
with sugar acid neutralizer to fight the #1 cause of cavities.
Brush with Colgate twice a day, every day.
Welcome back. 7 officials of some commercial banks, alongside 3 staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria, were remanded in prison as proceedings on the 8 billion naira fraud by the EFCC continues in Ibadan. Correspondent Abdurauf Kamaruddin reports that one of the accused persons, who is a nursing mother, was however remanded at the state CID office.
The 10 accused persons are Olanura Muniru, Togun Phillips, Kolawole Babalola, Isaac Akao, Ayodele Adeyemi, and Ayodeji Aleshe. Others are Adiwe Sunday, Oibamije Akim, Eni Ademola Dolapo, and Afolabi Esther. They were accused of conspiracy and false pretense by claiming that the 142 boxes of dirty and mutilated notes they took to the Ibadan branch of the CBN contained 1.2 billion naira as against the actual sum of 389.2 million naira. One of the accused persons, Ayodeji Aleshe, was alleged to have deposited a sum of 245 million naira in his account between 2009 and 2012. Others were also alleged of illegal possession of 5-bedroom flat at Akwete, a duplex at Oluyole shopping complex, warehouse containing bags of cement, filling stations, among others. Requesting for adjournment to take motion for bail application, EFCC counsel Rotimi Jacob, SAN, said the request became necessary to have adequate time to study the written bail application by some of the counsels of the accused persons. The presiding judge, Justice Faji, ordered all the bail application to be filed and served on or before Friday, June 5. He also fixed Monday, June 8, for the hearing on bail applications. In all, 63 count charge were read, and all the accused persons pleaded not guilty to any. The presiding judge, Justice Faji, remanded them in Agodi prison till Monday, June 8, to take their written application for bail. From the Federal High Court, Ibadan, Abdurauf Kamaruddin, NT News.
It is unanimous that the Nigerian oil and gas sector can no longer be run in a business-as-usual manner. Whatever reason one may attribute to this position, 2 major points stand out: unreliable revenue from oil and the need for good governance in operations. Over now to energy correspondent Hawasalu Adama for an X-ray of the issues.
Experts have described it as a normal occurrence which happens once in every decade. Yet, the unexpected fall in the price of crude oil from over $100 per barrel to an all-time low of about $40 in the last 1 year is a major concern. A concern which threw many oil-producing nations, especially Nigeria, off balance. One which emphasized the need for diversification of the revenue base and a more prudent approach to resources.
If we are able to diversify, there will be less pressure on the oil industry. We are looking forward to a structured governance process.
With over 1.7 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves, a cleaner fuel, and said to be 3 times Nigeria's crude oil, Efforts have been on to make Nigerians benefit maximally from this resource, particularly in domestic power generation and industrialization.
There are critical pipeline infrastructure that we have to focus upon to unleash access to the market. The next leg now, which is basically the Calabar-Ajaokuta-Kano, which opens up a completely new frontier, is one that we need to give priority to.
Then private investment will take over mostly and be able to get these gas for power generation. You can also build different gas plants like methanol plants. You can do what we call fertilizer plants today, urea plants. You can do quite a lot.
In the short term, one issue majority believe demands urgent attention is the heavy dependence on importation of refined petroleum products with its attendant effects of occasional scarcity.
We have been on the queue to get fuel. That obviously we shouldn't have done that. But what we are pleading to the government is that they should put something in place to make sure that they don't throttle the poor people who can access the fuel, does not have problem getting it.
This site, which now dots major towns and cities across Nigeria, may be described as a temporary manifestation of a frustrated people. But as experts say, until concrete plans are put in place and implemented to address the local refining capacity, it may just be another nightmare for the new administration. Averting this nightmare, energy experts say, could come in form of establishment of modular refineries, stiffer penalties for vendors of petroleum pipelines to ensure their effectiveness and less dependence on tracking of products, as well as deregulation of the downstream subsector and outright removal of subsidy on petrol. Comprehensive document expected to repeal about 16 outdated pieces of petroleum laws and inject transparency into operations, now known as the Petroleum Industry Bill, has made 3 journeys to the National Assembly. With the 7th Assembly at its twilight, what hope is there for the Petroleum Industry Bill? In Abuja, Hawa Salihu Adama, NTA News.
The Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions has advised the Ministry of Petroleum Resources to reinstate the 4 general managers that were dismissed from the Petroleum Technology Development Fund on the 31st of October 2014 on the ground of no justifiable evidence against them. The chairman of the committee, Ayo Akwonyelure, gave this advice at an interactive session with the Executive Secretary of the PTDF, Femi Ajayi, at the National Assembly. Ifanyi Ezumba has the details.
After a careful reappraisal of the circumstances surrounding the termination of the employment of 4 general managers, Senator Ayo Akwonyelure expressed satisfaction with the committee's findings and emphasized the need for organizations and agencies to always comply with rules and procedures before taking action with respect to their employees.
No documentary or oral evidence before them to justify sacking them out of service after giving 12 or 15 years of service to this country at general manager level.
On the 26th of May 2015, the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privilege and Public Petitions met with the Executive Secretary of PTDF, Femi Ajayi, to give reasons for termination of employment of 4 of its general managers. The committee again met with the Executive Secretary on the 2nd of June 2015 on the same issue, as directed by the chairman. Mr. Femi Ajayi responded that they have no evidence against the 4 general managers.
The fund has vacancies for 7 general managers. Now we're talking about 4. So if 2 are already occupied, that's it.
Part of its advice to the authorities of PTDF, the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privilege and Public Petitions is expected to report its findings to the Senate at plenary. From the National Assembly, Ifanyi Ezumba, NTA News.
Oh, yeah.
The newly introduced driver's license is meant to enhance the nation's transportation system in line with global best practices, as well as to reduce accidents by ensuring that only proficient drivers ply Nigerian roads. In this report, correspondent Aliu Kabir examines the challenges and the successes recorded so far in the exercise.
The introduction of the electronic system of driver's license was received with mixed feelings by many Nigerians. The question generally is, what is responsible for long processes in acquiring the license?
This process of going to the hospital, going to the learner, looking for learner permits, some drivers, they don't have time. But road safety, instead of them to govern you on how to get these things, they are the one telling you that, come, bring money, let me get you this.
But if you can go to VIO office now, plenty of people are there, they'll do it cheaply and get their money. Understand? So road safety tell you it's a fake.
Another issue, they say, is lack of awareness of the whole exercise.
The process, go to the road safety office, you get your forms, you fill it, you go online, they register you, they give you the temporary one. It was 60 days, but I was told it's just 45 days now, after which you get it.
The FCT sector commander of the FRC explains.
There is no emergency in the production of driver's license, and there is no error too. But what we find that is a problem is people not coming to collect their permanent licenses. But for those people that they were supposed to come and collect before we started sending texts, they too should come and collect their license.
And how secure is permanent driver's license?
It's a security document. You can use it in the bank, and we have used this data capturing in driver's license to trace criminals.
The Commercial of the FRC has directed the deployment of more machines to various centers across the Federation in order to fast-track the exercise. He therefore urged the general public to comply with the policy to avoid being prosecuted.
And the rule is this: if you don't go for fiscal capture and biometrics, then the license is fake. The essence is that those who give two passport-size photographs to some people and money, they are just doing themselves the service because it's fake. And that is why I give specific directive with the support of the Joint Tax Board. Anybody with a fake license should be prosecuted. It's a criminal matter.
In Abuja, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
A state without rules and regulations certainly gives way to chaos and disorder. That is why there are traffic signs and symbols in cities to aid free flow of vehicular movement. Correspondent Chimdima Ndobuisi, on special assignment, went round the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to ascertain the level of compliance with traffic lights by motorists. Take a look.
A check on the history of traffic lights shows it came into existence in 1918, fashioned after railway lights and installed in front of parliamentarians' houses in London, United Kingdom. By 1918, a newer version of the traffic light, the green-yellow-red model, was invented in the United States. These days, most cities like Abuja have traffic lights which aid free flow of vehicles during the day and at night.
Before now, we have just not too many traffic lights scattered over the city. But right now, the ones we are installing now are 74 in numbers.
Traffic lights are there to ensure that there are intersections where people are supposed to stop, obey the traffic distance, so that traffic can flow adequately.
How well then do residents and visitors in the Federal Capital adhere to the traffic light rules?
Some drivers obey traffic lights. Some of the motorists don't obey traffic lights, more especially these taxi drivers. Some of who are going the straight will go and block the ones that are going the right. And when the traffic light now shows green for them to pass, they are blocking them.
Motorists do not obey traffic because of impatience.
When people are driving in the night, they believe that they are the only people on that road. Therefore, they throw caution to the wind.
Most motorists say malfunctioning of some of the traffic lights add up to the confusion witnessed at junctions. Tricyclists are also not helping the matter.
Most of the time, the wrong programming of the traffic light, it causes traffic jam.
But are there sanctions for violators?
You go through series of enlightenment, series of lectures, film shows. You pay the amount, but before you leave, you know that you have violated. You spend about 6-7 hours in our office. Apart from that, the Corps is doing a lot in terms of sensitization. We do series of talk shows. We go to the motor park. We have a mobile court here.
where we arraign people that disobey traffic regulations.
A citizen has the right to arrest anybody, that violates traffic regulations. When you arrest as a citizen, you're supposed to hand over to the police.
Traffic regulators also advocate for attitudinal change and the need to imbibe safety measures while driving. In Abuja, Chimdimma Ndubisi, LTA News.
Thank you very much indeed, Chimdimma. You are watching News Extra on the Nigerian Television Authority. Up ahead, National Emergency Management Agency on swift response to emergency situations across the country. This and other reports in the third part of the program. Join us again.
To sweat, which attracts germs that are easily passed from one person to another.
What keeps you so cool, man?
Dettol Cool combines Dettol's protection with added menthol to protect from germs. Cool gives you maximum protection against germs every day from head to toes and an invincible icy feel. For super cool confidence, use Dettol Cool.
Dettol. Be 100% sure.
All over Nigeria, Ariel claims to give us the best stain removal in one wash. So we'll collect tough stains, red sand, fruit juice, to see which gives the best stain removal in one wash. We'll wash one half with Ariel and the other with the other peanut detergent. See, the other peanut detergent removes the stains. And Ariel, best stain removal in Nigeria in one wash.
Don't you do so? Na promo. You step on become millionaire.
You never hear say NAFDAC don't bring wetin they call mobile authentication service. We go help us know whether medicine na fake or not before we pay. Now come see. As I scratch this thing wey be like recharge card so, come send the PIN to 38353 free of charge. I will call receive text message to confirm. Okay, original.
Troy, just like that, we confirm whether medicine is fake or not instant.
Now when you say no wise up, make you help them that spread the story.
Not the way that.
Madam, come and take your money.
Now, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, they bring on this message.
Thank you for being there. After being in operation for about 23 years, the National Environmental Impact Assessment Act is undergoing its first review and validation to meet up with emerging environmental issues. Mia Ogidi reports that violation charges and how the real victims of environmental risks are affected are among top deliberation that will engage the attention of stakeholders for 2 days.
The Environmental Impact Assessment Act of 1992 was promulgated to protect the environment and its inhabitants, arising from some major activities being carried out in the private and public sectors. 23 years down the line, the federal government saw the need to review this act to increase the level of participation, build investors' confidence, and closely monitor environmental-related activities of both the private and public sectors in order to ensure that the environmental laws in the land are strictly followed.
We also make sure that we also strengthen our ability to sanction people who have continued to forge DA certificates that deny our people the opportunity to benefit from what the assessment is meant to achieve.
Participants at the review and validation workshop commended the exercise with a word of advice to operators in the sector.
Miners should not embark on mining without having the EIA.
Environmental concerns are incorporated into project planning, design, and decision making.
States were advised not to operate in isolation from the federal government in enforcing the act. In Abuja, Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
In another development, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has called on the present administration to enhance the full takeoff of state chapters of the agency. The Director General of NEMA, Sani Sidi, while briefing journalists in Abuja, says this is the only way to guarantee swift response and effective coordination of emergencies across the country. Ignatius Unko has the details.
When emergency strikes in Nigeria, like this one, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is usually the first call-up party to the scene. The number of casualties and destructions most often is usually influenced by the swift response of these emergency managers. From the flood disaster of 2012 to the insurgents attack in the northeast, NEMA has always been on the spot. Since its establishment in 1999, NEMA has been striving to ensure efficiency in emergency management in Nigeria. The Director General of the agency, Sani Sidi, said one of the major challenges is the lack of effective takeoff of the emergency management agencies at all the 36 states of the Federation.
NEMA, the way we are supposed to operate is when a situation is beyond the coping capacity of a local government emergency management committee, then the state government will come in and support their effort. And when this situation is beyond the coping capacity of a state emergency management committee, then the federal government will come in with all its resources and all its might to support the effort of the state government.
The agency said the various internally displaced persons camps in the country, especially in the northeast, needs more social amenities to cushion the effect of their trauma. It said, for instance, more than 32 pregnant women rescued from Sambisa forest earlier this year have been delivered of babies in various internally displaced camps in Adamawa and Borno states and needs efficient medical care. And in order to strengthen NEMA, the agency said it has established what it called NYSC Vanguard as well as executive volunteers. This is expected to enhance coordination at the community levels. And if this is effectively utilized, it now means that the presence of untrained volunteers at emergency scenes, which most often distort arrangements of rescue operations, would have been drastically curbed. In Abuja, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
2 children at the National Trauma Center, Abuja, having survived an accident that claimed the life of their mother. Isaac Nkoma reports that the only surviving adult, a male, who was brought along with the children, is still unconscious.
Center where this little girl survived the accident alongside her kid brother. But the challenge we're having here is that she can't communicate in English. So I'm going to try my house with her. Saadi. Ina baba. Baba Shahab Sadan. Okay. Daga ina kuna zuwa daga ina? Daga ina zuwa? Daga gari. Daga gari? Aisha, I tell you, it's quite traumatic at the National Trauma Center. Little Saadia, who gathered, is 5 years old, and her brother, Dauro Jamilu, is 9 years old. And all I could get out of Saadia is that they were traveling from Sokoto to Abuja this evening when the accident occurred.
This evening, we have with us 2 children and a man. We were told by the nurse that brought them that it was a case of an accident along Abuja Lokoja Road, and they were first taken to the General Hospital, Abaji. Because they could not cope with it, they have to transfer them to National Hospital here in the Trauma Center. We were told again from the nurse that assisted them to National Hospital that they lost their mother in this accident. We have them in. We have been taking care of them, and now they are stable. But they have a degree, 37-degree burns.
And who's the man with them?
Well, we don't know because there's no any relations at now to identify with these children and the man, and there is no anyone that has come to claim any of them to find out whether they know them or not.
It's back to you in the studios.
Quite sad. Pharmacists have been told to uphold the tenets of their profession in a bid to curtail the circulation of fake drugs. Ondo State Governor Dr. Olusegun Mimiko made the plea in Akure at the National Conference of Community Pharmacists. Toyin Batire reports.
Governor Olusegun Mimiko used the opportunity to call for collaboration between the government and the members in fighting fake drugs.
The pharmacist is the most important interface with the patient. So there's no person about the facts. And pharmacists say them that
the national chairman of the association, Mr. Olufemi Adebayo, and the national chairman of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Mr. Olumide Akintayo, emphasized the importance of drugs in human life and the need to use it according to prescription. They, however, appreciated the support of the pharmaceutical companies.
As a pharmacist, it is high time for us to display our skills, create business models, and market them accordingly to be profitable and sustainable.
We continue to tell consumers of health is that drugs are not ordinary commodities. They are meant to be life-saving, but they can also kill you.
The Commissioner for Health in Ondo State, Dr. Dayo Adeyanju, said Ondo State government has done a lot to reduce fake drugs in Ondo State. The wife of the Ondo State Governor, Mrs. Olukemi Mimiko, was given an award for her contribution to the improvement of the health sector in Ondo State. In Akure, Toyin Basire, NTA News.
Patriotism to their fatherland and national unity are words on the lips of National Youth Service Corps members, a scheme established over 42 years ago. So far, over 2 million Nigerian youth have benefited from the scheme, contributing their quota to nation building in different areas. Correspondent Olayinka Ojo in this report takes a look at a day in the life of Corps members on camp.
Has become a uniting factor embracing youths from different ethnic groups, social class, and institutions across the country and beyond. Having successfully graduated from the tertiary institution, the journey to the one-year mandatory service begins from camp, where each member is screened and drilled from the entrance of the camp.
These youth corps members having their bags on their head are not being punished, but the exercise they are undergoing is that of instilling in them a sense of discipline and patriotism.
With this stage concluded, they move to the registration hall, where the authenticity of their call-up letters are verified online. This is to ensure that no fake corps member is registered before proceeding to collect their kits. Corps members who have collected their kits and are dressed in their white t-shirt and shorts start their day on the parade ground.
These are the steps towards success.
Dedication, service, give your all.
NYSC Coordinator FCT Alawola Nikpekun says the youth corps members should see the 3-week orientation course as a platform to prepare them for post-service year.
Learn the lesson of being made to be easily mobilizable in national interest.
Over 2,000 youth corps members will be participating in the 2015 batch A Stream 2 3-week orientation exercise in the FCT. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Legislators have been urged to always be grateful to God for the opportunity given to them to contribute meaningfully to the development of the nation. This was at a valedictory service in honor of the outgoing legislators of the 7th Assembly. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim was there and now reports.
The lives of the legislators and other staff of the parliament as the 7th Assembly rounds off its tenure on the 4th of June 2015. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Rules and Business, Ita Enang, told the outgoing legislators that God is preparing them for a more meaningful task ahead. He made reference to the triumphal entry of Jesus into Jerusalem, the lives of Moses and Joseph as great leaders chosen by God.
And I pray for those who are staying back. I pray for the legislature that they will keep growing from strength to strength and keep doing their work and their job because they are intellectual arm of government.
The service also featured prayers and scripture readings.
The valedictory service also reminded Christian legislators of the need for them to keep the flame burning on the altar of their hearts through the service of God and humanity. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Some global events and sports news will be next after the break. Join us again.
The rescheduled dates of the Thanksgiving service and reception in honor of the President of the Senate, Senator David A.B. Mark, GCON, by the Benue South Senatorial District. Date, Sunday, 7th of June 2015. Venue, St. Augustine Catholic Church, Otukpo, Benue State. Time, 10 a.m. Chairman of the occasion, former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR. Fathers of the Day, General Yakubu Gowon, GCFR. General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, GCFR. Distinguished Guest of Honor, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Special Guest of Honor, former President Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Guest of Honor, General Abubakar Abdusalami, GCFR. General T.Y. Danjuma, GCON. Chief Host, Dr. Samuel Otom, Executive Governor of Benue State. Comrade Abamoro, Chief Patrick Ogbu, Chairman, Central Planning Committee, announcer.
Nigeria are the champions of the world.
They conquered the world at the FIFA Under-17 Championship in the United Arab Emirates 2 years ago. Can the golden generation of Nigerian football go one better at the FIFA Under-20 Championship, New Zealand 2015? NTA Star Times will bring all the matches from New Zealand to your living rooms from the 30th of May to the 20th of June, with repeat broadcast at the friendly hours of 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. daily. The FIFA Under-20 Championship, New Zealand 2015. Tomorrow's legend today.
Cold filtered Star, the finest ingredients, brought together with the touch of a master brewer. And then the magic happens. Millions of tiny golden bubbles dance to life with a shine that is positively infectious. Star, the beer that gave Nigeria its original shine.
Welcome back. South Sudanese government rejects United Nations appeal to cancel humanitarian aid officials' expulsion, and United States-led coalition against Islamic State fighters in Iraq and Syria record death of 10,000 Islamic State fighters. These and more on Global Tidbits with Chimdima Ndubwisi.
The government of South Sudan has refused to heed to the pleas of the United Nations for its top humanitarian aid official not to be expelled, saying the cabinet's decision is irreversible. The government says the official, Toby Lanza, who the UN described as instrumental in solving the country's humanitarian crisis, has been working against the government. And on Burundian crisis, the United States has called on the president, Pierre Nkurunziza, to follow the Arusha peace deal and step down as the country's election draws nearer. Having served 2 terms, the president's third-term bid had sparked violent protests, leading to the death of over 30 people. In another development, death toll from the capsized Chinese boat on the Yangtze River has risen to 18. As it is, rescue workers' hope of finding more survivors are not high. The Eastern Star boat was carrying 456 people and only 14 people have been rescued. That's Global Tidbits. Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
We earlier told you about the president's visit to Niger. We now have the detailed reports, and where we are told that the president has commenced a 2-day official visit to the Republic of Niger with commitment by the president of Nigeria and that of Niger to strengthening institutions that will facilitate socio-economic development of the 2 countries. State House correspondent Shegun Lawole has the details.
After assumption of office as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, accompanied by governors of Sokoto, Katsina, Borno and Yobe states, was received on arrival in Niamey, Niger Republic, by President Yusufu Mahamadou. The people of Niger expressed their appreciation for being the first country to be visited officially by President Buhari, as they came out in their large numbers, lined up the street to welcome the visiting president. The visit took place within the context of the consolidation of the excellent and historic relations of friendship, brotherhood, and good neighborliness between the 2 countries, as the 2 leaders deliberated on many bilateral, regional, and international issues, part of which include the acceleration of road and rail links, construction projects connecting both countries, and creation of new cross-border corridors in order to enhance exchange of trade.
Another area we intend to work together with our friends and neighbors, particularly in the Niger Republic, is the menace of illegal migration and human trafficking. Niger, as a major transit point, has had to commit huge resources to curb the trend. Nigeria will support the new initiative by the European Union and other stakeholders aimed at combating the menace of illegal immigration and human trafficking.
On the sports scene, Nigeria's national under-17 football team, the Golden Eaglets, are to compete in a 4-nation tournament between June the 10th to the 14th in South Korea. The Golden Eaglets experimental team will play against South Korea, Brazil, and the United States as part of preparations for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. For other reports, over now to Amanzi Marcus. At the weather prospects for tomorrow. The weather forecast wraps up this edition of the program. From the production team and me, thank you for watching. Good night.